picture of you, please.
No, I can't do that. I gotta go home.
Quickly, please.
No.
God bless you.
No.
My camera here.
Be careful with your arm,
Okay,
man.
thank you.
The hatred at your doorstep won't last long.
Well, listen, I've said this 15 million times, and I don't mind saying it because I just think that he is just not a nice person, and it's Tommy Lee Jones.
For decades, Tommy Lee Jones has existed in Hollywood like a fixed landmark. He doesn't chase relevance, he doesn't explain himself, and he has never tried to be likable. So when he quietly stepped back from the spotlight, people started asking questions. Was it age? Was it health? Was it that famous reputation finally catching up to him? But while those answers were still being speculated over, something far more devastating happened. And it starts with a loss that no amount of fame, discipline, or toughness prepares you for. At the very start of 2026, while most of the world was celebrating a new year, Tommy Lee Jones' family was thrown into devastation. His daughter, Victoria Jones, was found unresponsive at an upscale hotel in San Francisco in the early hours of New Year's Day. A guest initially believed she was intoxicated and alerted hotel staff. When staff arrived, they realized she was not responding. CPR was initiated immediately. Emergency services were called. Despite attempts to revive her, she was pronounced dead at the scene. Authorities reported no visible signs of trauma, no immediate evidence of foul play, no clear indication of suicide. Investigators stated that the circumstances were still under review, and police asked anyone with information to come forward. What made the situation even more unsettling was the uncertainty. It remains unclear whether Victoria was staying at the hotel or how she came to be on the floor where she was found. No definitive public cause of death was announced in the immediate aftermath. For a man who has spent his entire career projecting control, restraint, and resolve, this was something no performance could contain. The Jones family released a brief statement shortly afterward, thanking the public for their condolences and asking for privacy during an unimaginably painful time. And then, as Tommy Lee Jones has always done, he went quiet. Victoria Jones was 34 years old. She was the daughter of Tommy Lee Jones and his second wife, Kimberly Cloughley. As a child, she had a brief acting role, and her father once spoke proudly of her talent, her intelligence, and her fluency in Spanish. He described her professionalism on set. He described her like a colleague, not a novelty. And he described her like a father who believed in discipline, structure, and work ethic. But adulthood had been difficult for her. Public records show that Victoria had several encounters with law enforcement in 2025. These included misdemeanor charges related to substance use, obstruction, and later domestic-related allegations. In at least one case, court documents referenced alleged intoxication involving toluene, an inhaled solvent known for its euphoric effects, but also for serious health risks. She pleaded not guilty in those cases. Some matters were still pending at the time of her death. It's important to be clear here. None of this establishes a cause of death. Authorities have not publicly confirmed one. Any connection between her past legal issues and her passing remains speculative and unproven. What is clear is that she was navigating serious challenges. And like many families facing situations like this, the struggle was likely happening quietly, behind closed doors, away from cameras and headlines. For Tommy Lee Jones, this wasn't a headline. This was his child. Jones has never been active on social media. He doesn't do public vulnerability. He doesn't turn grief into statements or appearances. So when he withdrew even further than usual, it wasn't an image decision. It was survival. At nearly 80 years old, he was dealing with the kind of loss that collapses time. A loss that reframes everything that came before it. A loss that makes red carpets feel obscene. This alone explains why he disappeared from public view. But it's not the whole story. Long before this tragedy, Tommy Lee Jones carried one of the most famous behind-the-scenes reputations in Hollywood. Brilliant, demanding, unforgiving. The most famous example came during the filming of Batman Forever in the mid-1990s, involving Jim Carrey. Carey later recounted a tense encounter where Jones openly expressed his disdain for Carey's comedic style, reportedly telling him he could not sanction his behavior. Director Joel Schumacher later acknowledged the tension, noting that Jones struggled with the tonal contrast between his serious approach and Carey's high-energy performance. To some, this became proof that Jones was difficult. To others, it was proof that he took the work seriously. And that distinction matters. But Jones' intensity wasn't limited to co-stars. Interviewers learned quickly that he had zero patience for lazy questions. He would shut conversations down, offer one-word answers, or simply let silence do the work. On the set of Men in Black, director Barry Sonnenfeld noted that Jones initially struggled with the film's deadpan comedy. The humor wasn't broad, it wasn't obvious, it required restraint. Once Jones understood it, he leaned into it fully. And the result became iconic. This is the part often left out of the difficult narrative. Jones wasn't chaotic. He wasn't volatile. He was exacting. If something felt unserious, he rejected it. If someone wasted time, he noticed. If the work wasn't sharp, he pushed back. That attitude doesn't play well in an industry built on access, charm, and constant self-promotion. In recent years, Jones made a deliberate shift. Instead of chasing major franchises, he chose selective projects. Films that didn't require endless press tours or manufactured visibility. He spent more time on his cattle ranch in Texas, managing land, playing polo, and living far away from Hollywood's noise. Colleagues like Samuel L. Jackson have defended him publicly, describing Jones as sharp, funny, deeply intelligent, and fiercely honest. According to them, the warmth is there. You just have to meet him halfway. This wasn't a man being pushed out. This was a man stepping back. As Jones approached his late 70s, tabloid speculation began circulating about his health. Some late 2025 appearances were dissected online. Words like frail and confused were thrown around. None of these claims were medically confirmed. No diagnosis was ever announced. No official statement supported the rumors. What was evident is that he was aging. And aging, combined with grief, has a way of slowing everything down. The difference between rumor and reality matters here, because speculation fills silence quickly, especially when someone refuses to explain themselves. Jones has never corrected the narrative. He has never felt obligated to. So what really happened to Tommy Lee Jones behind the scenes isn't a scandal. It isn't a meltdown. It isn't a fall from grace. It's the collision of three things: a lifelong refusal to perform likability, a deliberate withdrawal from an industry he never fully trusted, and a devastating family tragedy that would stop anyone in their tracks. Hollywood didn't exile him. Age didn't erase him. And his reputation didn't destroy him. Life intervened. And when it did, Tommy Lee Jones responded the only way he ever has: by stepping back, closing ranks, and keeping his pain private. In an industry built on exposure, that choice alone feels radical. And maybe that's the most honest thing he's ever done. It was a man who had already spent a lifetime refusing to perform for the spotlight, finally choosing silence when life delivered something no role, no reputation, and no amount of toughness could absorb. In an industry that rewards overexposure and punishes privacy, stepping back like this feels almost defiant. And maybe that's the point. If this story changed the way you see Tommy Lee Jones, or made you rethink how Hollywood treats the people it builds and breaks, let me know in the comments. If you want more deep dive stories like this, hit like, subscribe, and turn on notifications so you don't miss the next one. Because sometimes, the most revealing stories in Hollywood are the ones that aren't being told out loud.